Thank you everyone for tuning in today for our Bald Eagle Nest Watch update and conversation. My name is Brenna Marcichek. I'm the Communications and Outreach Director with Madison Audubon. And I'm joined today with a bunch of awesome volunteers who are part of our Bald Eagle Nest Watch program. So before we do introductions, I'm going to give a quick little intro to what this program is all about. In 2018, a volunteer named Drew Cashman, Drew, can you wave? Came to Madison Audubon with a really great idea on starting a program called Bald Eagle Nest Watch, which is based off a similar program that runs in New York as well as Colorado. We love this idea, and so we connected with the DNR. We started recruiting volunteers. We offered training sessions. All of our volunteers sign a confidentiality agreement and then get assigned to a nest, a bald eagle nest, where they go each week for 1 hour a week and document what's happening at the nest. The DNR get all the data throughout the season as well as at the end of the season so that they have a better idea of what the bald eagle population is like in southern Wisconsin and can make really good informed management decisions around those nests. So from our humble beginnings in 2018, where we had about 12 nests in just Dane County, we've now expanded to almost 40 nests in 9 counties in southern Wisconsin, in part because there are a bunch of new nests popping up all over the place, but also because there are so many people interested in participating in citizen science and volunteering their time and being part of a research project like this. So we are so grateful to all of our volunteers, including and especially the ones who let me rope them into today's conversation on Facebook. I just want to remind everyone that if you have any questions throughout this, feel free to type them into the Facebook comments section, and we will try to address them as we go, and we'll make sure to touch in at the end of this to answer questions as well. So with that, how about I hand it over to you, Drew, for introductions, and we can just kind of rotate through and introduce yourself and why you're involved.
Hi, I'm Drew Cashman. I'm coordinating with Brenna as she gave the story of what happened. This is our 3rd year, and it's just been unbelievable how we've expanded out. It's been great. Bald eagles have always been a passion of mine, so I really wanted to continue this. I started out in Colorado and moved to New York and then to Wisconsin, and just wanted to continue the process. So, and then do you want me to do the nest updates, or do you want to? Let's
do more introductions. So
okay.
How about Beth? Do you want to go next?
Sure. My name is Beth Slies, and this is my 2nd year. My husband and I have been observing a nest in a marsh in Dane County, and we just love doing it. It's a great opportunity to get out in nature, and I've been birding probably since college. I had a friend in college that started me on birding. So we love going out there. It's a wonderful opportunity to be in nature and to make observations. The training is great, and it's just nice to be connected with people in this way. So thanks, Brenna, and thanks, Drew.
You're welcome.
Mary and Bill?
I'm Mary Rego, and I also want to thank Drew for bringing this program here. It's amazing. This is the first year I've heard about it. Brenna for offering it up and sending an email, and Bill and I are really excited about it. We live kind of near where our eagle nest is, and we've seen eagles behind our house for years. And now we feel like it's our eagles going to, our nest, and now we know where they live. So it's really fun and been really exciting.
Sweet.
And I'm Bill Egbert, and I second everything Mary said as far as thanking. The training was very good, very interesting to me, and I've always loved eagles and tried to see them all my life. And being as old as I am, it took many years because when I was young, there weren't any eagles, and we all know that they've come back, and it's a wonderful thing. And to be able to watch them in the nest is pretty amazing. And just to get out and do so is wonderful. I tried to see them all my life, and being as old as I am, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Kind of came back.
Caitlin?
Hi everyone. I'm Caitlin TwoHearts, and this is my first year participating with the Bald Eagle Nest Watch program. I've only recently gotten into birding. I discovered it last summer and immediately got hooked on it. And as a new birder, I was really excited about learning about all the ways that my bird sightings and the things that I was out seeing could contribute to research programs and to data that people were collecting. So one of the tools that I discovered as a new birder was something called eBird, where all of my bird sightings could be turned into this really cool citizen science program. And so I started thinking about local opportunities for me to kind of get more involved in the Madison community, and did some research and stumbled across the Bald Eagle Nest Watch program. And I've been really, really grateful to be a part of a local citizen science project where I feel like the things that I'm going out observing and the data that we're collecting on these eagles ends up being so useful for researchers and for the DNR that's kind of thinking about how all these nests are growing in the Madison area. So I too am really thankful for this program and for the opportunities that it's given me.
Great, thanks. Well, Drew, you have an update for everyone on nest statuses. You want to start off?
Yes. Also, first, just a little insight. We have 83 volunteers for our program, which is amazing. I mean, I want to thank, if anybody else is watching, thank to all the volunteers and these guys as well. I mean, it's been amazing, the response we've gotten, and Brenna can talk about that as well. I mean, it's just the Madison area, Dane County, and the expanding counties have really embraced this, and we're very thankful to have as many volunteers and as very passionate volunteers about. So I want to thank all those guys out there in the field, once a week for about an hour. So just wanted to thank you there. Right now we've observed or are observing about 41 nests. 8 of them were either inactive or failed. Most of them, there's a few that were inactive, just they're, for whatever reason, they've either switched nests or they're, no longer in that territory. We had one fail where, unfortunately, I think it seemed like there was only one adult the whole time. So I think something happened to the other member of the pair, unfortunately. So that one never got going. We actually, 2 of the fails are a little more promising in that they're 2 brand new nests in Dane County. Typically a newer nest takes a little while to get going. Sometimes it's more than one season. So those guys were out there. They were kind of, I call it playing house, learning and doing that, and pair bonding and doing building the nest and adding to the nest and doing all that. But unfortunately, they're not going to get started this year. But we're hopeful for next year. We have 2 nests that did the same thing last year, and they're doing very well and have eaglets. As far as what we have 24 of those nests have eaglets currently. So that's very exciting. That's good. And then we have 9 that are most likely incubating the eggs right now. They're on the, there's usually a range of when they lay their eggs. So those nests should be hatching soon, and it's very exciting. We're having actually a really good season. Fortunately, the last couple of years we've had some storms roll through around this time around April. Seems like it's more smooth sailing, so that should help with the eagles, because some of those freak storms really take their toll on the young eaglets. So basically, what's going on mostly at most of the nests right now is there are eaglets in the nest that are probably a week or 2 old, very small puffballs that we like to call them, and they'll be growing very quickly. So it's about to get very, very interesting as the weather gets more interesting. There are more, and these guys can talk to this once they get to that. Is that you get a lot more interaction. the adults are a lot busier defending the nest and feeding the babies and doing all that. So it's about to get very exciting after the incubation, which tends to be a little bit of a bore. It's not much going on, but it's about to get exciting. So we're very thankful that we have all our volunteers and that most of the nests have done very well this year. So it's great to see.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
It's really great to hear.
Awesome. Thanks, Drew. So we wanted to give everyone who's watching sort of an introduction to what the nest that Caitlin, Beth, Mary, and Bill, they all monitor the same nest. And of course, we can't tell you where that nest is, but we thought it might be kind of fun to talk about what that nest looks like, what the environment is generally like, what kinds of things the volunteers see while they're out there. So Beth, do you want to sort of introduce what that nest is like?
Sure. Yeah. The reason partly why we love this area is because it's a nice hike in. It's about 3/4 of a mile out into the edge of the marsh, and way off in the distance from where we can access is this massive tree. I'm guessing it might be a cottonwood. I'm not sure, but the nest is massive, and it's been there for a long time. It's super deep, and it's in the crotch of this tree, and nearby there are several other trees as well. So it's a really nice opportunity for them to land in that tree, the nesting tree, or in one of the other trees nearby. It's a great habitat, not only for the bald eagles, but while you're there, even during incubation, I find it thrilling because you get to see all the new birds coming back. All the migratory birds are starting to come in. The sandhill cranes are there. You start to hear the red-winged blackbirds. I mean, it's just a phenomenal opportunity to be in a place where that's thriving, and it's a critical habitat. So while we've got these bald eagles coming back on strong, we also need to work towards conservation for their habitat, because while we have these eagles thriving, we need to make sure their food is in good shape and their habitat is in good shape. So it's making me think in terms of a bigger picture. So it's an exciting place to be.
Caitlin or Mary or Bill, do you want to add to that at all?
For me, I think the very first day I went out there was the best, and they've all been very nice. But it was like 2 days after we were trained, and Mary was doing something else, and I took my dog, and we went out to see if we could find the nest. And we had the directions from Beth and Dave, and I followed those, and it was right after a snowstorm, and it was like 8 inches of new snow, and we snowshoed out there, and we found the little woods, and we went around the corner. I'm thinking, I'll never find this nest, and all of a sudden, wow, there it is right in front of you. And it's really impressive, and it was way out into the marsh. And I snowshoed up maybe halfway to the nest, maybe 1,000 yards away, at a long ways, and it just looked completely barren to me. And it just snowed. The nest was covered with snow. It was like 6 degrees. It was so cold, and I thought, these people, I don't know if there's actually eagles around here. And I watched for about 10 minutes. I didn't say anything. And I turned around to leave, and I took the binoculars, and I just scanned the horizon behind me. And about 1/4 mile down the river, in another great big barren tree, both eagles were sitting shoulder to shoulder. And when I put my binoculars on them, I saw they were looking right back down at me. And it was really impressive to find the nest and then to see the 2 eagles. It was a really nice day.
Oh, yeah. It's thrilling.
I remember feeling completely shocked at how huge the nest was.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of eagles' nests, and even showing, looking at pictures I've taken of the nest, like it just doesn't, you don't realize until you're actually looking at it how massive this nest is. And Beth mentioned it's been around for years and years, and I don't know how long, but I'm just really lucky that they have such a great spot, because it really seems like the perfect habitat, the perfect location for them to be successful with what they're doing.
what's been fun is like, as Bill said, the first time he went on snowshoes, and then we went, I don't know, a few days later together, and we felt like you had to go on snowshoes. We both had poles, we had snowshoes, and it took a while to get out to right where you first get to the beginning of the marsh. And then we kept walking out because it was frozen, but it really took a while. And then as the snow diminished, it wasn't quite snowshoe weather for me. So I was hiking in boots in the snow, which was not easy. I mean, we were trudging through, as you guys know, trudging through the snow. And then it's just changed every week that we've gone to, I have gone from snowshoes to now I'm wearing high rubber boots. And I haven't gone that far into the water, but I needed them because it's melted. There's a lot of mud and little springs and things, but it takes half the time to get out there as it did before, as when we were hiking through. And it's just been exciting for me because I've seen eagles, but never been a big bird watcher before the last couple of years. And just to see those eagles come in and be together, and now seeing them, as we know, eggs and hopefully eaglets are there, you feel like you're a part of something bigger than you are.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Cool. I spend a lot of time out there just birding and seeing all of the life that's around there, and it's been so cool to just see that change every single time I go out. It's almost like there's something new that's arrived. And so watching the marsh just evolve with the seasons and to see it transform has been just, that in and of itself has been a huge part of the joy that I get from participating in this.
So Mary, you just mentioned how things in the nest are changing. Can you talk a little bit about what types of signs you're looking for in terms of like body language to be able to tell what's going on in the nest?
Well, again, we had the training, but I am in no way any kind of an expert of what we're looking for. So I've listened to other people. So when we first go out there, the first thing is, do you see the head? Oh, I don't see the head. And then we get our scope out and you see the head sitting up a little bit high, just outside of the nest. And then you're seeing, like Caitlin has mentioned, and so has Beth, you see the head go down and for a little while and then come back up. And so we're looking for a little bit of motion there so that she's not just sitting on eggs. And now you're seeing, it's like the first time we saw what we thought she was rolling the eggs because the head was going down and there was movement there. And then, so that's what we've been looking for, and to see how high she sits, or I guess we can't tell the difference, honestly, but how high in the nest they're sitting. And then also when the second eagle comes, and 2 times ago, we saw them both outside of the nest sitting next to each other. And then she got back in the nest and he flew off. So it's kind of interesting trying to figure out, whether or not, they're going to do a switch out, and we stay the full hour, and sometimes we don't see that. So that's been fun, and we've been looking for that too.
Yeah. I always like when it's early on and in between, like incubation, and you're waiting for the eggs to hatch, and every so often they'll both like be sitting on the edge of the nest, sort of looking in, like, oh, look at that,
We made those.
We did.
Well, we were joking the last couple of times, actually, when it got close to being towards an hour that we had been there and there was no second eagle coming in. And so Sunday she got up a little bit higher, and Bill goes, I think she's calling. I think she's, and it's like, it's really fun. Like, she's calling in, and it's like, okay, you're late for getting in here in my change. So we kind of joke about, okay, I've been on this nest for an hour. When is it going to come and, let me get off? So we look for that and a little bit more action. And Sunday we thought that she was making noises, and
yeah, it's hard to tell. We're looking through the scope, and we thought we could see her beak opening, like she was probably calling or squawking at some point near the end of the shift, like, come on, let's go.
Whoa.
I don't know, Drew, is that something that if they do, we think they do it like once an hour, but is it sometimes longer than that before they shift?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on the pair. That's one thing that I love about the Bald Eagle program is there's a lot going on with them, and something you might see at one nest. They really definitely do have different personalities. There's all the the instincts and everything that they know to do, but there is a lot of different personalities. Yeah, they definitely squawk at each other a lot, and they have such amazing eyesight that a lot of cases, it might look like they don't they don't know where their pairmate is or where their mate is, but a lot of times they can see them because they have just such amazing sight.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They definitely do squawk at them, and there is that dynamic, which is pretty funny to watch. You see it a lot of times when they're fooling with a nest, and one of them puts a stick there, and the other one squawks at them. I don't want that there, and it's pretty entertaining at times with that. You get that dynamic between the two. So
okay,
they definitely have their own type of personality, and so it's always interesting to see that interaction.
There have been a couple other instances this year, Drew, where someone has reported something happening at a nest, and you say, like, "My goodness, I've never seen this before," or like, "That's new for what I know about bald eagles." Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's been an interesting year. If you had told me before any seasons before, I've been doing this for at least 10 seasons, and I've never seen or heard of copulation after they have eggs in the nest. And then we're getting just, it seems like at a number of the nests, and it's not just one nest, I think it's been at least 5 or 6 of the nests, copulation either with eggs in the nest or with eaglets in the nest. So I think we're coming onto something that I thought that was very, very rare that might be actually a little more common. So I'm constantly learning, and every year we're coming across something, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even think of stuff like that. It would be a danger or something they're doing. So you're constantly learning, and it's great because there was the whole DDT thing, and scientists were really studying and trying to rebound the population. But as that's gone, as the population has grown, the money has started to dry up. So we're really feeling a void of, learning more and hopefully helping the population, because we never know if there's something else that might come through that might, be a danger to them that we don't know of. So it's great that we're out there learning. I mean, you're constantly learning and changing your view. So that's always the fun thing that I love about the nesting season.
Well, for I don't know, a couple weeks, I think, and Beth, you saw it, and maybe Caitlin, Bill, and I did, that there was 3 eagles there, and one was a young eagle, and that was at least a couple of times, don't you think? Yeah. And then you'd see one of them perched, one on the nest, one in the one tree by the nest, and then another one sort of over near where we would observe in another tree. And then the one eagle would fly over to the other eagle far away. So we would have 3 there for a while. And that was maybe 2 weeks, do you guys think? I'm not sure how long they were there.
Yeah, it seemed, I always wonder when, especially our first year, what happens in the following year? Do those guys hang around the nest tree? And this sort of, what I think is that was a last year juvenile, first year, and one of the adults would definitely go over and sort of say, this really, you got to move on, not your house anymore.
And then where do they go? That's the question. You got 3 of them there in one nest. So
Well, the 2 adults would stay, and they, the juvenile basically needs to find a new territory. So one time we were out there, there were 5 eagles. There were 3 adults, the juvenile from last year that I think it is, and then a subadult.
wow.
It was very busy. Couldn't believe it.
We had a day when we saw 5 also, and it happened to be a sunny, beautiful blue sky day. And all the things that you see out there are really beautiful, but when you see those eagles with the sun on those bald heads and those tails, it's just glorious.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good winter in terms of being out there, and I don't mind that it's cold. I love that we can be resilient right along with the birds, get out there and be a part of them. And I feel the same way. We talk about them over dinner like they're family.
Oh, we do too. We do too. I mean, and I have a lot of friends that I've told were citizen scientists and doing this, and they just think it's so wonderful too. So it's nice to share this with other people that would never have thought about it or heard that this was going on. This is just an amazing program that I would love the general population to know that, you guys have organized here and that it is going on.
Yeah. And it's nice to support the DNR. It's nice to support statewide data and to know that, just the way that the program is managed. I like the fact that the new data sheet auto-fills to a spreadsheet. That's sort of my go-to place. I'll go to that spreadsheet and check out what's been happening and, what the observations have been. And that way I sort of feel like, okay, I'm up to date and we can go out there and see what's happening today. So it's really well formed and well guided, I think.
Well, great, thanks. Well, as you mentioned, the nest that you all monitor is in a natural area, which, is a little more secluded. Some of the nests that our volunteers are monitoring are in the middle of a city, in a residential area. And it's really pretty amazing to see how different these settings can be, and that garbage trucks can go by and people can be walking their dogs right pretty much under the nest. And some of the eagles don't seem to mind. And at the same time, you can walk out to a nest and not realize that you're, 400 feet away and then look up and there's an eagle barking at you. So it's a really interesting collection of nests, where you have such varying personalities in those eagles. I'll take this opportunity to mention that by law, people should stay back from bald eagle nests at least 350 feet. That's to protect the nest and ensure that the eagles don't flush from the nest or abandon the nest if they feel like they're being harassed too often. So just a plug for making sure that that's respected as much as possible. But while you're out at your nest, you encounter people that are curious as to what you're doing and you have to explain it to them, or is it pretty quiet?
We've never encountered anybody, though we did see another couple out observing the nest with a scope.
Okay.
We weren't sure who it was, and it was Beth and Dave. We didn't know it was them. They didn't know it was us. We're both observing until they left. And I went and saw Beth's report the next day, or Dave's report, and you were there the same day, like an hour before us, and we overlapped by a few minutes. But right in the winter, we saw a few people that were taking, because you can hike out there too, but I don't even think they knew there was a nest there. They were just walking. So we've never really run into anybody. Caitlin, have you seen anybody out there?
I have only encountered other people once, and it was just someone that was out walking their dog. There is that little bit of a path there, but I don't think that they had any idea the nest was out there either. So it's been very, very secluded, which is one of the reasons that I kind of like being out there, because it's kind of nice to just be out alone, watching the eagles, watching the marsh, and it's very calm and very peaceful.
Yeah,
it's so, the marsh is definitely its own little world. I've monitored the nest on and off for the 3 years, and I think I've come across, there was one photographer that was out there one time, so I chatted with him for a while. but as I said, it is pretty secluded. Some of the other nests, just to talk about, I mean, we go from, an urban environment to way out in the sticks. So it just varies from that. There's some higher traffic nests where, the volunteer is going to get some, people walking dogs or whatever, pretty much every week. The one thing that I've learned through, this is the third state. I started out in Colorado. I did some in New York, and I did now in Wisconsin. Is you get there's an embrace, especially those nests that are in a kind of a community that people are very protective of their nests, their bald eagle nests, and there's a lot of pride. If you have a bald eagle nest in your neighborhood, they're very excited about that. I don't think I've ever talked to somebody that was negative about the nest. They're always like, oh, what's going on at the nest? So they're very excited about what's going on. They'll always ask you, you get to these nests and you actually build some relationships with the neighbors, and they're always looking, asking you, well, what's going on? Is there eggs or, the eaglets yet? So there is a real sense of pride in these communities to have an eagle. It's very cool. I'm kind of jealous with it, The closest nest I have is, it's a 5-ish minute drive away, but to be right in that neighborhood would be very cool. So I am jealous of these people that have this bald eagle nest right by their house. So.
All right. Well, we have reached about a half an hour. Is there anything else that anyone wants to mention before we wrap things up?
Just to expand on your point, Brenna, if you do know of a nest, we always recommend that you stay, use a scope, use binoculars, stay quiet, because they do react to noise, and just respect them. Especially this time, we're in a real sensitive time. They got very small eaglets. And that's why, like a freak storm or a lot of disturbances at a nest can cause a nest to fail. So, we really, if you do know a nest site, never ever post it on social media. Please keep it as vague as possible. If you do take pictures, don't reveal the locations. I mean, the vast majority of people, I would say, 99% of the people are very positive and wouldn't do anything, but there are some, there's some people for whatever reason want to harm these great birds, but we just don't want to make it easier for them to locate nests and do crazy stuff. So if we can protect them and keep nest sites safe and keep your distance so you're not disturbing them, and really enjoy them, but keep your distance. So
Thanks, Drew.
All right. Well, if anyone watching on Facebook has any questions, feel free to type them into the comments box. And even after we hang up the call here, we'll keep an eye on that and answer your questions as they come up. But thank you all so much for watching. If you want to learn more about the program, you can go to MadisonAudubon.org/BENW, Bald Eagle Nest Watch. I'll put that link into the comments section as well. And we love that you are hanging out with us today. So keep an eye on our Facebook page. We're going to be doing more of these live events as we continue through this period of social isolation. So thank you all for your work. Thank you to the volunteers, and we'll see you next time.